War. This subject leads me to speak of the worst of all creations, that of the armed masses, of the military regime, I mean.
And when you move on then, from Deuteronomy, from which these quotes are taken, to the great war book of Joshua, you know the story of the taking of Jericho. And then they utterly destroyed all in the city, both men and women, young and old, oxen, sheep, and asses, with the edge of the sword. And the next city, Ai, and Israel smote them until there was left none that survived or escaped. And so Joshua defeated the whole land, the hill country and the Negeb, and the lowland, and the slopes, and all their kings. He left none remaining, but utterly destroyed all that breathes, as the Lord God of Israel commanded.
I deeply despise those who are happy to march in the ranks and formations following a music. This one only by mistake has received a brain. A spinal cord would be more than sufficient for him. It is necessary to suppress this shame of civilization as quickly as possible. The commanded heroism, the stupid hand-to-hand combat, the nefarious nationalist spirit. How I hate it all.
I want to start by wishing a double happy birthday. First, happy birthday to you, President Donald J. Trump. You've been an extraordinary leader, decisive, courageous, clear vision, clear action. You have done great things for Israel. You've been an extraordinary friend to the Jewish state and to me personally. We've known each other for many years, and we appreciate what you're doing now.
Someone was like, it's kind of fucked up to say that there's one pedophile Jew out there who kind of controls all of the politicians and runs the media. Oh, that is real? Oh, everything I said is true? All right, I got a lot of things I got to relearn.
Helping protect Israeli lives against the criminal regime in Iran. I want to wish also a 250th happy birthday to the American Army. The men and women of the armed services of the United States have protected freedom for 2.5 centuries.
Then there's that rather horrible story at the end of Judges 21, of how the tribe of Benjamin got their wives.
We would not have a free world without you. Thank you on behalf of free peoples everywhere. Today, Israel is defending freedom in the Middle East and beyond. We're doing so against a tyrannical and radical Iranian regime that wants to build atomic bombs to destroy us and wants to build ballistic missiles, including intercontinental ballistic missile, to be able to threaten anyone and everywhere in the world.
And the problem is this. People who never hedged their bets, people who never at any point suggested to you that they don't have data to back up the speculation, that the speculation was in and of itself the conclusion that if you speculate without evidence, that amounts to an actual conclusion to an investigation, they're going to be very upset today because it turns out that the DOJ and the FBI have concluded that Epstein didn't have a client list and died by suicide, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. Now, again, does this put to bed like all inquiries? Of course not. People can continue to speculate as much as they want. And I think there's still open questions here regarding how did Epstein make his money? Right, that's a very serious open question. And the speculation for a long time was he made his money from blackmail. But the DOJ and the FBI, again, run by people like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are telling you, I'm not telling you, they're telling you, people who are members of the Trump administration,
well, who could
people
doubt
you
that
elected
crew?
and put
Right.
into these positions to get you the truth on this matter, are telling you that he didn't, in fact, he was not murdered. He did not keep a client list. And he did not blackmail powerful figures.
Okay, this would be like us coming on the air. Yeah. This would be like us coming on the air and saying, listen, guys, AOC said Kamala is working tirelessly for a ceasefire. AOC said that. So come on.
Come on.
Do we believe our lying eyes or do we believe AOC?
And unlike the crew he just named, she's actually elected.
Right. She's actually elected. That's right. That's right. It would be like, that's what that sounds like. That's what, if we came on and said that to you at the DNC convention, would you continue to take us seriously, or would you say, oh, I know what this is?
By defending ourselves, we're also defending others. We're defending our Arab neighbors, our Arab friends in peace. We're defending Europe. We're helping defend also the United States, which helps us all the time.
The importance of language in society and the control and manipulation of language to control and direct society. I think the most important point in 1984 is that power grows not out of the barrel of a gun. Power grows not out of the thought police and rule by terror. It grows out of the power of language in that.
In our defense. This is an important mission. Right now, The Iranian regime is bombing our civilian neighborhoods while we are targeting the terrorists. Now, this is not new. They've tried to assassinate President Trump twice.
Shouldn't have the same protections that the Secret Service provides every other former president. It's very clear what they're doing. This is just the next step in what has been a very calculated plan. First, they convict President Trump on these bogus charges to brand him as a quote-unquote felon. Now they've moved on to the next step, making it clear that this specific former president's life isn't even worth protecting. They are so hell-bent on removing the possibility that the American people may choose to elect President Trump. Not only are they willing to throw him in prison, now they want to take away his security and jeopardize his life, making it even more clear that we, the people, must hold them accountable by voting them out of power on November 5th.
I wrote this joke a few years ago. This is when Animal Crossing came out. I wrote this joke. It's a video game satire site. Something fishy about private Animal Crossing island that Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Prince Andrew keep visiting. Obviously, the joke is that it's Little St. James, Jeffrey Epstein's island. I drew the little temple. This is what the temple looks like. But we all know. Okay, great. This makes its way around the internet. I get a DM from somebody, and this is what it says. It says, "Hey, I love your content. I'm a little worried about this one. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, but it could be easily construed as anti-Semitic. Blue and white are traditionally colors associated with Judaism, Hanukkah in particular. And temple is what places of worship are called. Claiming powerful people are visiting an island and visiting a blue and white temple plays into the, quote, Jews control the world conspiracy theory. Just thought I would give a heads up." And I don't know, I don't think this person was trolling me, right? Like, I think this is just someone who, like, is unaware of what's going on. Also funny to read an article by someone named Jeremy Kaplowitz and be like, "Temples aren't just from Legend of Zelda, buddy." Yeah. Also the place Jews go. Look it up. I didn't know what to do. Like, I was like, well, how do I respond to this? I just sent the Wikipedia article for Jeffrey Epstein. Because, like, maybe she just didn't know, right? An hour and a half later, I get back, well, that's really fucked. Which does worry me that I, like, created an anti-Semite, right?
They bombed American embassies. They killed 241 Marines in Beirut. They killed and injured thousands of Americans with their IEDs in Iraq and Afghanistan. They burn the American flag. They chant endlessly, "Death to America." Our enemy is your enemy.
Democrats, you answered this one. Do you really want to become the conspiracy party? Because it wasn't that long ago. It was like, oh, they're the nuts who believe in the crazy conspiracy stuff, and we're the sane people. And now I see Schumer is doing something called the Rule of Five. Never heard of this, but it's something that he can invoke to get them to release the Epstein files. They're having town halls to kind of fan the flame. Is this where the Democrats should be going with this?
Well, totally not. But, you know, Trump has more pictures with Epstein than with Melania, so there's something there, right? And listen, well, I mean, there's something there, right? Well, he's clearly worried about it.
He's on tape saying he grabs pussies. The other guy's a pimp. They're going to be friends.
Well, that
doesn't mean he did anything.
I mean, look at the chronology.
And by doing what we're doing, we're dealing with something that will threaten all of us, sooner or later. Our victory will be your victory.
And the earliest song in the Old Testament, the earliest text in the Old Testament, Deborah's song, is a war song.
The nefarious nationalist spirit. How I hate it all. And how ignoble and despicable war seems to me. I would rather be willing to be cut to pieces than to take part in such a miserable action. And yet, in spite of everything, I esteem humanity so much that I am convinced that this evil ghost would have long since disappeared if the common sense of the people had not been systematically corrupted through the school and the press by the speculators of the political and business worlds, religion and science.
Then in the 9th and 8th centuries, we have those horrendous bloodbaths of Elijah and Elisha in the last books of Kings, of First Kings and first books of Second Kings. And then there's the reforms of Joshua, of Josiah in 2 Kings 22 to 23. But above all this, then, there's Thor's, that beautiful ideal of an ultimate peace. This is an idea that plays now from this time of Isaiah onward through all of the higher culture war mythologies, that we are really not creating a world that is going to be constantly in war of this kind. There has come a new tenderness, a new gentleness into the thinking of the world. And there's that beautiful line from Isaiah 65 that's so often quoted: "The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and dust shall be the serpent's food. They shall not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain, says the Lord." However, a little further along in Isaiah, when one sees what the ideal of peace to come actually is,
peace, 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 peace. Power, power.
it is not altogether the wolf with the lamb.
And I would like to use the rest of my time to say how appalled I am that people are bringing up the Holocaust. Do not use other genocides to describe this one. I have been...
We're not going to tolerate that.
This one that I personally do not see. It is a horrible, horrible, horrible situation.
I know. Okay. But I know nothing about her. I think she's sick, mentally sick.
Okay. You say in this post, you use a strange word which I want to ask you about. You say she completely made up a story that I met her at the doors of this crowded New York City department store and within minutes swooned her. Do you see that?
Yeah.
What does swoon for me?
That would be a word, maybe accurate or not, having to do with talking to her and talking to her to do an act that she said happened, which didn't happen. And it's a nicer word than the word that starts with an F. And this would be a word that I used because I thought it would be inappropriate to use the other word. And it didn't happen.
Okay, I was curious when I read this, so I looked up the word swoon in the dictionary. And under the dictionary, it means to faint with extreme emotion. That's not what you meant here.
Objection to form.
Well, sort of. That's what she said I did to her. She fainted with great emotion. She actually indicated that she loved it. Okay? She loved it until commercial break. In fact, I think she said it was sexy, didn't she? It was very sexy to be raped. Didn't she say that?
So, sir, I just want to confirm. It's your testimony that E. Jean Carroll said that she loved being sexually assaulted by you?
The foreigners shall build up your walls,
our interview with
and their kings shall
Anderson
minister
Cooper,
to you.
I believe that's what.
For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor I have had mercy on thee. Thy gates also shall be open continually.
Newman's most famous digital room was the Temple of Janus. The gates of the temple were to remain open while Rome was at war, and be closed in times of peace. For the entirety of Numa's reign, the doors stayed shut, but after his passing, they remained open almost continuously.
They shall not be shut day or night, that men may bring unto thee the wealth of nations, and their kings led captive. For that nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine, and the box tree together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. And the sons of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, and they shall call thee the city of Yahweh, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel.
Let's talk about political parties just for a second. Let me name three for you and tell me which one is the worst abuser of doublespeak. The Communist Party, the Democratic Party, or the Republican Party in history.
Marjorie Taylor Greene has done something truly historical. What she did in the Congress yesterday would go down in history books. This was nothing less than an act of remarkable valor. She dared to question the unlimited military support to Israel during a debate on the Defense Appropriations Act.
I would say I'd give them all three. They're right in there by the nature of politics. I would say that the Communist Party would be leading the other two simply because under the time of Stalin and others, language was used to justify, mass murder.
Mr. Speaker, as the House considers the defense appropriation bill today that cost the American people $831 billion, It's important to talk about that this is the funding for our great men and women serving in our military and our nation's defense. The Department of Defense's mission statement is to deter war and ensure our nation's security, and that is worthy of the American people's hard-earned tax dollars. However, the American people are $37 trillion in debt, so this is money that is being spent that they already don't have. My amendment would strike $500 million in funding for nuclear-armed Israel's missile defense system. And it's important to phrase it that way. Israel is a nuclear-armed nation, which is very capable of defending themselves, and they have been proving that so as we've watched on the world stage. The U.S. already provides Israel with $3.8 billion annually in foreign aid. $3.8 billion, that's a lot of money. Additionally, the April 2024 security supplemental included $8.7 billion for Israel, that is nuclear-armed Israel. And during the recent 12-day war, the U.S. used 15 to 20% of our terminal high-altitude area defense missiles stockpiles defending nuclear-armed Israel, which cost us over $800 million. The $500 million provided in this bill will fund Israel's, that is nuclear-armed Israel's, missile defense system, the Iron Dome, David Sling, Arrow system. Yet Israel is a nuclear-armed nation. That's a pretty big deterrent for any of their enemies. Any nation that has a nuclear bomb has the greatest threat against their enemies. USA typically accounts for 15 to 20% of Israel's defense budget, even though Israel, nuclear-armed Israel, has universal health care for their citizens and subsidized college for their citizens. They're able to provide that. However, here in America, we're $37 trillion in debt. My amendment to strike $500 million in foreign aid will ensure an America First Department of Defense, and that is exactly what we need, and we haven't had for a very long time. Mr. Speaker, I reserve.
But we had used language in Vietnam to justify our actions in Vietnam. The Republican Party, once attaining power, has used doublespeak to justify and explain and silence their critics. But I don't see that as being different from any other politician. What Orwell says in Politics in the English Language is, it is clear that the corruption of language ultimately has political and economic causes.
Now it's strange, it has been strange the past weeks, to hear these very lines coming from the jubilation in Israel over the victory over the Arabs.
I want to start by wishing a double happy birthday. First, happy birthday to you, President Donald J. Trump. You've been an extraordinary leader, decisive, courageous, clear vision, clear action. You have done great things for Israel. You've been an extraordinary friend to the Jewish state and to me personally. We've known each other for many years, and we appreciate what you're doing now, helping protect Israeli lives against the criminal regime in Iran.
That is to say, these mythologies are still alive. And of course the Arabs have their mythology too. They are also a Semitic people. They are also descended, according to their mythology, from Abraham. They are the children of Ishmael, the first and oldest son of Abraham. Abraham and Ishmael, according to Muslim mythology, built the Kaaba, the shrine in Mecca, the central shrine of all the Arab world. And the Arabs have been in continuous knowledge of the fact that they derived from the same tradition as the Hebrews. They honor Abraham, they honor Moses, they honor also Jesus as a prophet, and they declare Muhammad to be the final prophet.
This masterstroke of Scipio's is an example which deserves the reflection of modern students of war. In the sphere of tactics, there is a lesson in his consummate blending of the principles of surprise and security. First, in the way he secured every offensive move from possible interference or mischance. Second, in the way he fixed the enemy before and during his decisive maneuver. To strike at an enemy who preserves his freedom of action is to risk hitting the air and being caught off one's balance. It is a gamble on chances, and the least mischance is liable to upset the whole plan. Yet how often in war, and even in peacetime maneuvers, have commanders initiated some superficially brilliant maneuver, only to find that the enemy have slipped away from the would-be knockout, because the assailant forgot the need of fixing. And the tactical formula of fixing plus decisive maneuver is, after all, but the domestic proverb, first catch your hare, then cook it.
These are the two war mythologies that face each other right this minute in the Near East and may explode the world.
I can imagine a situation, though, in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that inure to the benefit of the strongman leader and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Trump's own Department of Justice was bragging in a press release that's still on their website earlier this year that crime in D.C. was at a 30-year low. Further, the murder rate is half that of St. Louis. If they're going to try and justify the military in D.C. based on that, they'll try anything.
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Tory and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime. There's a number of examples.
Posting a dinner for holders of his meme coin last night. Mackenzie Sagalis is here with details on the event, who showed up, and why some may have left disappointed.
Across, even in Sudan.
When a U.S. general goes on record accusing an African leader of using gold to protect himself, you know something big is happening.
All we know of the contours of the deal so far is, in exchange for substantial cooperation, a sentence less than life. So what the hell does that mean? So obviously a massive plea agreement has been worked, but Ovidio is not doing good in custody. And he's said to be suffering from extreme depression and anxiety. Ovidio he's turning in $80 million as we speak. Which sounds like a drop in the bucket. But that's probably part of the deal, or at least more than $80 million. The OD thing made the political situation here in the U.S. untenable. So there's his lawyer, Jeffrey Lichtman, who was his father's lawyer, who was not able to save his father, but Jeffrey Lichtman is one of the very top criminal lawyers. He's been working on this deal for, 22 months probably. And back last, when was it? The beginning of the year, his brother Juan showed up with, of course, El Mayo and landed at that New Mexico airport. Now, none of that turning in of El Mayo is listed in the plea agreement with Ovidio, but of 17 members of Ovidio and his brother's family, and his family, obviously, like Ovidio's mother and probably his wife and children, came across the U.S. border down there in San Diego a month or so ago.
I'm not a villain. I have zero evil plans.
Everyone knows this, but nevertheless, things remain as before. What has become of the last trace of decent feeling, of self-respect?
Anyone ever heard the snake? So this is called the snake. The snake, right? The snake. Are you ready? You ready?
When our statesmen, otherwise an unconventional class of men, and thoroughly anti-Christian in their acts.
Think of this in terms of terror. Think of this in terms of the people coming into the country, especially coming in from Syria. Think of our border. Think of the people that we're letting in by the thousands. You know the famous Trojan horse?
Let's now call themselves Christians and go to the communion table.
I want to shower you with gifts because I'm selfless and sweet. So there's no reason at all to be suspicious of.
When we go in church and when I drink my little wine, which is about the only wine I drink, and have my little cracker, I guess that's a form of asking for forgiveness. And I do that as often as possible because I feel cleansed.
Really? Because I'm getting super evil vibes here.
A prince at the head of his armies, magnificent as the expression of the egoism and arrogance of his people.
We have to very, very carefully vet. We have to be smart. We have to be vigilant.
So here it is, the snake. It's called the snake.
And yet acknowledging without any shame that he is a Christian.
Some other adjectives people use to describe me. Unduplicitous, unmalicious, unconniving, unnasty.
You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
Won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You gotta get out and vote.
Whom then does Christianity deny?
You're clearly just adding "un" to words that describe you.
Who, me?
I am Christian. I'm a Protestant. I'm very proud of it. Presbyterian, to be exact.
I'm Presbyterian. Boy, that's down the middle of the road, folks, in all fairness. I mean, Seventh-day Adventist, I don't know about.
I'm a Christian. I have great relationship with God. I have great relationship with the evangelicals. I'm a Christian. And I go to church a lot. Always on Christmas, always on Easter, always when there's a major occasion, and during the Sundays. I'm a Sunday church person. I'm a Christian. I like to do the right thing where I don't have to actually ask for forgiveness.
To save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know, and vote. Vote early, vote absentee, vote on election day. I don't care how, but you have to get out and vote. And again, Christians, get out and vote. Just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed, it'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You gotta get out and vote.
Whom then does Christianity deny?
Not
that someone was like, it's kind of fucked up to say that there's one pedophile Jew out there who kind of controls all of the politicians and runs the media. Oh, that is real? Oh, that is real? Oh, everything I said is true? All right, I got a lot of things I got to relearn. Oh, that is real? Oh, that is real?
And the notion of divinity or divine life, in my mind, would be what would determine my decision. And if it were rather crude, it would be a rather crude decision.
But is divinity just what we think?
Yes.